Yo, what up guys, it's Flark. And Demon Hunter, it's pretty good right now. So I made some other class guides at the end of Shadowlands, and they were actually really well received. You know, as long as I stay in my lane, they were mostly for melee, you know, Demon Hunter, Rep Paladin, Warrior I have a rank 1 title on. Most of them I have EXP on, because melee, brain, zug, whatever. I did not make a Boomkin guide or a demo guide, you know. I made a mage guide, but it was actually just a joke. It was a 1-minute video, and it said press Frostbolt a lot, you know. It was a joke. It was a gag video. But anyway, I decided to do that again for Dragonflight, and of course, when's a better time to start than the pre-patch? The pre-patch is insane. It's very easy to come up with some broken stuff, and it's only going to be a month long, so we might as well have some fun with it. And I started with Demon Hunter because I have a secret weapon. Effectively, you're going to be like, oh, I tried out your build, Flarkness, and it's so good. Thanks, man. I really owe you one. And it'll be all a trick, because any build you pick with Demon Hunter right now is going to be so good, so I could have given you anything, and it would feel tremendously overpowered. They are completely overtuned in pre-patch because of some mechanics that I'll talk about soon, but yes, this is the build that I got the most power out of, but man, you can try a lot of different things. These talents are wild, and the fact of the matter is Demon Hunter is just overtuned. Right now, it's overtuned. I'm not sure that it will be in Dragonflight release, but as of right now, it absolutely is. So let's get into how you can build that, what my personal preference is right now, and you know, this little pre-patch guide. With the pre-patch guides, I'll be talking about, you know, all of the pre-patch mechanics, so that includes the Shadowlands stuff. You can see I have the Legendaries pulled up right now. You have Legendaries, Covenants, Conduits. Those all work in tandem to give you this obscene power, and I'll spend a lot more time over the talents than any of those things, because that will be the stuff that you can get familiarized with in time for Dragonflight, and that stuff will stay with you. That stuff is good, because we're just going to build on that for Dragonflight, and you can take it into the next expansion with gusto. So let's start with your itemization. That's just stats, gear, etc. This one's really easy. For Demon Hunter, you have Verse and Haste. Those are your two best stats by far. Versatility trumps everything. It's just overall the best PvP stat for most specs, especially Demon Hunter, that has a lot of things that don't scale with its mastery. Physical damage, the hunt is nature damage, so having versatility to buff all of that while giving you self-healing, which scales great with Leech, you have tons of that, and then damage reduction, so you live those stuns. It's just a triple threat. Versatility, your best stat. Haste, your second best stat, right up there with Verse. Then crit trumps out mastery a little bit. You have some crit damage modifiers in your talent tree that I will get to very shortly, I promise. And also mastery is just so low for an output spec. Like, again, the crit, you could have some huge hunt crits, right? Mastery doesn't buff it at all, right? You have some abilities that mastery just doesn't even touch. And your mobility is already good enough. You get some movement speed from mastery, which is nice, and you'll have some, but you've got a lot of speed as Demon Hunter. You got a lot of mobility, so that's not quite enough to push it over the edge. So again, real quick, and then I'll move on. Big Verse, after that Haste. Not so much crit, but some, and then no mastery really much at all. Easy. We'll talk about the trinkets real quick because they're so simple. Insignia, that gives you haste, one of your best stats, of course, and it's just sustain agility, which is great because you always have damage as a Demon Hunter, so you always will be able to make use out of that proc, and it's 20 seconds long. That's just, wow, yeah, obviously. And then your PvP trinket. Just make sure you throw one of those on so you can get out of big kidney shots from the sub-rogues running around, and maybe you don't die in it. Okay, Legendaries. So you're going to grab a Unity, and it's going to be the Necrolord Unity. You can say I have Crit Verse on that. You would probably do Haste first. You could do Crit Verse. I was making a Hunt one-shot setup before the pre-patch even came out, and it actually ended. I'm not going to change it because it's still fun to have crit, big Hunt crits, and big Essence Break, Chaos Strike crits are all really fun. So you could run this or Haste first, but you just run the Unity with Necrolord Covenant. And then for the other Legendary, this one's fun. There's 3 choices. I will walk you through all of them, and you can pick your favorite. Chaos Theory is a no-brainer. It scales with the Chaos Theory talent because they're both in the game right now. So you have absurd Chaos Strike hits with this Legendary, with the talent, and with Essence Break, which we'll get to, I promise. So that's just absurd Blade Dance, and then Annihilation hits. Wow, it's just obscene single target. So if that sounds interesting to you, run this. You're not going to be sad about it. Burning Wound is still good, of course. You can have the Immo Aura talent and then the Burning Wound. legendary power, and then of course you just have constant sustain, which Demon Hunter is known for, so that's great with playing like DH Lock or DH Boomy in this pre-patch, messing around with maybe one of your caster friends. And then you could even run, and I have this on right now, because I was messing around with it in the Venthyr build, but it's still good. You can run Collective Anguish, and it's because we have we have health and healing and leech and versatility. We have so much self-healing and then Fodder the Flame from our Necrolord Covenant that you can actually just make it an Immortal God spec. You can sacrifice some damage, and you do sacrifice a lot of damage to run this because both Chaos Theory and Burning Wound do a lot of damage, and this does a little bit less, of course. Well, much less, but it heals you. It actually heals you for a lot, and when you supplement your Leech healing and your Fodder to the Flame proc healing and your Hunt healing with this Collective Anguish heal, you kind of feel immortal. I had a game where I did 1.3 million healing, not damage. I might still have it in details, but we got to move on. It's pretty crazy. So you can have your Immortal God spec if you want to sacrifice a lot of damage. Chaos Theory being the highest output if you want to go that route. So pick your favorite. All three of them are fun. If you don't know much about the legendaries, don't worry, they're all going to be gone soon. But I can't go over that in this guide. That would make no sense. It's Shadowlands material, so that's a double legendary setup if you know anything about that. And then finally, you're just going to have some Sinful Revelation, Celestial Guidance. Make sure to put those on your weapons because they still are very impactful right now. And that's your gearing. Not too hard. Not too hard at all. So now we'll go on to the meat of it, right? Of course, and that's talents. And again, there are about a bajillion good ones for Demon Hunter. Let me share with you my build, and the link will be in the description below. How cool is that? You can import my build directly and try it out. I made this build pretty quickly in the start of the pre-patch. And it was around that time I realized no matter what I pick, I'm gonna feel insane because I went into Arena and I never left 100% health while doing unlimited damage in an old season's gear. Cool. So of course you start with the necessities. You get the I-Beam, that's a main ability. You get Demon Blades on this pick. That is a no-brainer. This is passive Fury Gen and damage, and you don't want to press Demon Spite. It's just a waste of a global. When you have so many impactful globals, you don't need another one. When you can make this passive, and it's based on your auto attacks procking it, so all that haste you have makes this proc a lot more. Okay, I don't really need to talk about it. Everybody knows Demon Blades is good, probably, but it is, promise. Okay, now you go down this Chaos Strike row, and then you get Blade Dance First Blood. This was a talent before. It is extremely impactful. Your Blade Dance is going to be hitting so hard. You're going to notice a theme. We get all the Blade Dance talents. Chaos Strike, Refunding Fury is just great generation because especially during Chaos Blade procs, effectively you are just spamming Annihilation with no qualm, with no worries, because you never run out of Fury and you just constantly get, every single time you get that Chaos Blade window, you will use it, which is, again, you're going to notice, very impactful. Your damage output is going to be so high. We got Chaotic Transform. This was a Azurite trait, and they kept it in the game forever, and there's a reason why. It heavily smooths out your rotation. Again, you can I-Beam for Demonic proc, which is over on the left side. We'll get to that eventually, but essentially that means you get I-Beam meta. So you put yourself into meta with I-Beam, and then you can reset your I-Beam by metaing, so now you have more meta, and then you can I-Beam again for even more meta, right? That's the idea. I-Beam meta, meta, I-Beam meta again. And you have this enormous window, which is even buffed by this PvP talent that gives you verse during meta and also reduces the cooldown. Oh my god. You have this enormous window of insane haste, insane verse, insane damage. All of your abilities are buffed. You have a ton of leech, which makes you immortal and a healing god. So yeah, Chaotic Transform, really good, shocker. I-Beam dealing critical strikes. That's crazy that's a talent, but you definitely pick it. It used to just be an inherent ability. Don't worry, this is not like some, oh no, I'm nerfed, I have to get attached one talent to bring this back, and I-Beam cranks right now. So yeah, you're definitely gonna run that. Then, this is great. This is really huge because every single one of your, this is Blind Fury, every single one of your burst windows is enabled by pressing I-Beam. Remember, it puts you into meta, and now you start with full Fury, and it does a ton more damage. Oh my god, Demon Hunters, they drive me insane. Cool, right. Desperate Instincts is the talent that I chose here. Your sustain, both in damage and healing, is so high that this is actually nuts. You don't want to go into Netherwalk necessarily right now during this pre-patch meta. Of course, this may change. You're going to probably run it as a counter pick into Rogue Mage and Dragonflight like you always do. But in the pre-patch meta, when you are an Immortal God class, you can just run this, and it passively triggers when you're in stun, and it actually buffs the effect of Blur, which means the enemy team has like no win condition. You can't die in stuns, you can't die out of stuns, you self-heal, you dodge, you're immortal. Blur is like a no second cooldown for how strong it is. Yeah, run Desperate Instincts. Yeah, everything's so good. Right, so now we're just going to look down right here real quick. This is Furious Gaze. This came over from BFA as well. Used to be as an Azerite trait. Again, your eye beam, you're gonna notice themes here. Your eye beam sets up your burst window and then puts you into meta and then gives you haste and then gives you full fury and meta gives you haste and then you just go nuclear on everybody every time you press eye beam, which you can press twice in your burst as well as getting a long meta. We're gonna sweep over to the Blade Dance talents. This is the other thing that's going to do unlimited damage for you. That's Blade Dance dealing more damage and Blade Dance inflicting a dot that does a ton of damage when it ends. Cool. Now you have the Chaos Theory talent. I promised I would get to this. This is where Blade Dance makes your Chaos Strike in a window do a lot more damage. And you can pair this with the Legendary to make it do a lot more damage. So now we've triple buffed Eye Beam. We've triple buffed Blade Dance. We've triple buffed Chaos Theory. And then we quadruple buff them because Essence Break makes your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance deal 80% more damage. And now every button you press is like more impactful than some classes' entire toolkit. And then you get crit damage equal to your crit chance, which is really useful for Eye Beam, which always crits. And then that's why you want to stack a little bit of crit in there, because now your big Hunt crits are going to be crazier, and your big Chaos Strike crits are going to be crazier, and your big Blade Dance during Essence Break crits are going to be crazier, and your big Fell Rush crits are going to be crazier, because yes, you still get Unbound Chaos to make your Fell Rush do 400% more damage after pressing Immo. So now you have yet another chunk ability, which you're going to pair with the Hunt, as you can see over on the left side, and I've talked about multiple times. And yeah, is it starting to make sense? Does it make sense why this is so good? Every button you press kills the enemy team and heals you to full. Does it make any sense why this is good? I think it certainly does by now. For PvP talents, I went a little dork mode. I went all of the aggression stuff, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. Remember, you have First of the Illidari, which is now way better than it used to be, that Demonic Origins, because every meta gives you 10% first, and I already explained how you can get into meta over and over and over again, so you pretty much have perma 10% first, which is really good, because that's a great stat, and 10% first is a lot. And it also has another effect of reducing your meta cooldown for those longer games, but you won't have a lot of those because you already killed the enemy team. Reverse Magic is the only non-Zug decision I made, and it's really nice. Gets you out of Roots, gets your healer out of CC, out of Hodge, out of Poly, gets yourself out of Deep, the freeze from a Pet Freeze from Frost Mage or any of their other roots, or an Entangling root from Druid. You can also reverse Soul Rot and other important dots from dot classes, and then Chaotic Imprint, because it's 10% to all your chaos damage, and that's just a good feeling. Realistically, you should probably run Detainment, because then you have that extra CC. You could also be insane and run Blood Moon. I know that that's been bad since released, but your output is so high right now, this really complements that Immortal God spec. Again, I'm not saying that it's a competitive PvP talent in Dragonflight when that comes out, but Prepatch is not Dragonflight, it's Prepatch, and once you see how much damage you're going to be doing, you'll say, extra 5% leech might not be so bad. Right, okay, so that is that. The right side, the Demon Hunter talents. Again, there's stuff that we missed here that you're going to be able to get in 70, or you can check out for yourself. I didn't even go into the Fell Eruption stun because I just wanted output so badly. And you have Chaos Nova over here, which is really nice. But you're just going to go down these rows, get even more value out of 70. So even when Covenants are out, you're going to get a lot of power back in. But now the Demon Hunter basic talents, these are very powerful and very fun. Of course, we get double Fell Rush charge. You can use one for mobility and one for Unbound Chaos. Imprison is your CC. You get some Max Fury. Vengeful Retreat is kind of just a pick. I didn't go down the sigils because they're very clunky in PvP. Remember, this is for PvP, so you don't want to put a sigil on the ground. People generally don't stand in stuff. I'm a DK main. They don't stand in D&D. They don't stand in sigils. Not that great. Consume Magic, that's your Purge. Throw Glaive, Bouncing Glaives. The only reason I had this, I'm pretty sure, see, this is the only part of the guide that I was not precise about perfectly because, you know, I'm trying to get these out quicker. I think the ricochet effect applies chaotic imprint, which is insane for cleave. I wonder if I can try it literally on the dummies. They've had some difficulties, let's say. Look at that. Dude. No, it's Chaos Brand. Okay, so you actually wouldn't run this. You wouldn't run this then. Probably, ooh, there's so many options though. This is a conduit. This is a conduit. I could see this still being good. Fury Gen on Purge. You have so many options. You have Fury Gen on Kick. You have the slow, which would actually make this be better, but you would have to get them both, which would require more talents. You can see just how impactful all of this stuff is. Oh, you could get the Nova heal. Oh my god, Immortal God Spec just got more immortal. Or you can reduce the Fury cost and cooldown. Okay, I'm gonna go with that right now. Let's go through the rest of it. You can see there's a lot still in the works, in the laboratory right now. Mastery increases your movement speed. Cool, we love movement speed. You don't have a lot of mastery, but this still actually gives you a good amount of mobility, right? Fel Rush increasing your movement speed with the double charge adds to your mobility. Chaos Nova is your AoE stun, and now we just grabbed Unleash Power to reduce the cooldown of that and the Fury cost, which makes it really good for like grip stun goes with your DK friends. Or just really any AoE stun on double melee or caster melee, very simple. Now you have Metamorphosis cooldown reduction, don't have to explain why that's good. Fellblade is absolutely disgusting. You effectively replace Demon's Bite in your rotation with Fellblade, it generates Fury and gives you a charge. And in a PvP environment, not only does it do damage, not only is it reset by Demon Blades, not only does it generate a ton of Fury, but it gives you that extra mobility. And now the compounding mobility is making itself very clear. Cool, okay. MOR, this ends up doing pretty okay damage, not particularly. If you have a ton of little attacks from like an enhancement shaman or assassin, it's fine, but the armor is actually really wild. Your damage reduction, both in magic from your inherent magic resistance, and then armor, plus the blur damage reduction, and then all the self-healing. Again, Immortal God class. I don't have to say that anymore. There's the double leech that you use absolutely 100%. Your damage heals you, bada boom. Here's Demonic, which we talked about. Press I-Beam, get into meta, do a million things as all the modifiers compound. Now you have Darkness. This is a huge cooldown that you want to use in PvP because it's you and your teammates. I think it's still 50% in PvP, but they've been doing a lot of changes based on like PvP specific modifiers. So this should remain a 50% chance to avoid attack, not 20% in PvP. So that's a lot better, obviously. It's really good defensive for your teammates. There's that magic damage reduction I was talking about. Of course, your mastery, again, not a great stat, but just getting it for 1 talent point is no problem at all. Here's that health buff that I was also talking about. You can see how all of these immortal talents all come in synergy, and then you have the hunt. I said this a million times. This thing cranks. The hunt dot cranks, you put it on everybody. It's another spike hit, and that, my friends, is, let's apply these. That, my friends, is Demon Hunter in a nutshell. You can see that even during the pre-patch, a lot of people are still going to be at the laboratory, you know, figuring out interactions like what I just tried to figure out, but there's so many more interactions, and even more when you get to 70, that these things are just going to keep developing over the month and over the season and over the next expansion. So this is a great starting point, I swear. Play it in PvP. Just go down to the description, copy, paste, play it in PvP, press your buttons in the right order. It's hard not to as a Demon Hunter. You got 4 of them, and you're gonna have some fun as long as you have any gear at all, until you queue into a Demon Hunter with more gear than you. Then you're gonna be probably sad. And that's your talent. Super fun. When Dragonflight comes over, I will probably make multiple builds for Demon Hunters, go over all of them, especially with 70, unlocking a lot more options. But for now, I just wanted to give you guys something awesome to play around with in pre-patch, and that's what this is. But we have one more thing to talk about. Your Covenant, yeah, still in the game. This is what happens. Not only did all of that I just showed lead to the power, but look at this. Look at this. This is a Covenant ability. The Hunt, it's a Covenant ability. Covenant abilities were made to be very, very powerful, and the Hunt still is. But I still have a Covenant. You have the 2 most electrifying Covenants of Demon Hunter, at the same time with a set of modifiers that's far better than anything you could get in Shadowlands. You have a better set of modifiers and 2 covenants at the same time. Yes, you go Necrolord, guys. Go Necrolord. Get that Father of the Flame, and the Demon procs heal you to full. Run Plague Divisor, and look at this. Grab Dancing with Fate. Grab the Blur reduction in cooldown. Grab Rooting. Grab the magic damage reduction. I talked about this. You have magic damage, physical damage reduction, magic damage reduction, health pool, healing. It really never ends. You still get Alt Form, but really you get that Kevin for the 6% damage increase, which is great for a class that never runs out of damage. This thing lasts 40 seconds. And then you get the Mastery from Volatile Solvent. Not the best thing in the world, but again, we have some value to Mastery with movement speed and chaos damage from Unbound. Chaos and the big fell rushes, it's all pretty wild. So yes, go Necro, grab Plague Divisor. 1 more month of running these stupid covenants from Shadowlands. But yeah, you have 2 covenants at the same time and 50 modifiers. You're gonna be loving it. Okay, that's all I got. I probably already talked too long, but I just figured I would share with you the obscenity that is Demon Hunter. And to anybody who does not play Demon Hunter, I'm so sorry for introducing more of them into the world, because when you queue into them, you will see why. See ya. Sorry. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.